吐き気を催す邪悪とは何も知らぬ無知なる者を利用することだ。自分の利益だけのために利用することだ。
そのまま帰った方がいい。ブローのブチャラティ、向かってくればお前は死ぬことになる。
あなたはまさかポルナレフさん？
どこかで会ったか？
JoJo's Bizarre Adventure has its fair share of unanswered questions about some of the characters and stands that are present in the series. But one character in particular that was engulfed in mystery even after having his background explained was the main villain from Part 5 and mob boss of Passione, Diavolo. So today, let's have a history lesson on Diavolo and dive into the mystery that is his character. So Diavolo was born in an all-female prison in the summer of 1967. How do you get a mother pregnant in an all-female prison, you ask? Well, it's never really explained, continuing the mystery of Diavolo. But I mean, who isn't up for some speculation? So we don't have a lot of information to go off here except for the fact that Diavolo's mother was serving a 10-year-long sentence for robbery and assault. She had already been imprisoned for 2 years before Diavolo's birth and insisted that she was pregnant for 2 full years and the father was unnamed and died from illness. And that is pretty much everything we have to go off of in regards of Diavolo's birth. So it could be easy to say that Diavolo's mother lied about the father from 2 years ago and was just in a relationship with a guard or male employee from the prison. That would be the most likely scenario, but it's clearly stated that there were no male prison guards and all employees of the prison were female. So it's pretty obvious that Araki really wanted Diavolo's birth to be a complete mystery and leave the readers puzzled. So either the pregnancy actually lasted 2 full years or she had some sort of contact with a male inside the prison, whether that be just a random male inside the prison or maybe even a visitor. As for any theories that all of this could be due to the possibility that Diavolo's mother has a stand ability that could explain this, that is unlikely because stands are most often than not inherited and Diavolo was not born with a stand. But this could be an interesting theory because there was a stand in Part 5 that we were introduced to that involved childbirth. So after Diavolo was born, obviously he cannot be raised in the prison, so his mother sent him back to her hometown of Sardinia, a large Italian island in the Mediterranean Sea, where he was adopted by an unnamed priest who would soon become Diavolo's stepfather. As Diavolo grew up, he was described to have a frank personality, yet timid and not too bright. His stepfather wanted him to become a priest and follow in his footsteps, but Diavolo desired to become a sailor instead, although he never did pursue that. In the later years of Diavolo's childhood, in the years 1984 to 1985, about the time when Diavolo was between the ages of 17 and 19, he met Donatella Una, a woman who was vacationing in Sardinia when they met. Donatella fell in love with Diavolo, who was going under the name Solido Naso at the time. Diavolo grew to like her, whether he was lying or not, but he did impregnate Donatella and she would eventually give birth to Trish Una. Diavolo was not aware of the pregnancy at the time and Donatella would soon be departing, but Diavolo made a promise that he would return to her, which he was probably lying about too because he never did that. Only a year after Diavolo's time with Donatella in 1986, when Diavolo was 19, his stepfather spotted him walking on the beach with a girl. This woman was unnamed and it is most likely not Donatella. Diavolo's stepfather thought to himself after seeing Diavolo that it was about time that he got him a car, so he began to build a garage near Diavolo's room, but while digging into concrete, the priest found Diavolo's mother with her mouth sewn shut in the ground, who presumably has been kept alive by Diavolo for years. And later that night, a fire broke out which consumed the entire village and would kill the priest and 5 other people, among those including Diavolo. But in reality, Diavolo did survive the fire and would escape to Egypt to join an excavation. Okay, so a lot of questions. I mean, his birth is mostly a mystery, but once he goes to Sardinia, he seems to be living a pretty normal life. He grows up in what is assumed to be a normal household and normal village in Sardinia. He meets a girl in his late teens, loses his virginity, but then everything seems to come to a screeching halt when we find out that he's been keeping his mother alive underground for years, which is discovered by his stepfather. Okay, so first off, how did Diavolo even know who his mother was? Why was his mother in Sardinia? And why did Diavolo sew her mouth shut and keep her alive to suffer? We're only left to speculate because none of this was explained, but the most logical explanation is that once Diavolo's mother was released from prison, she decided to return to Sardinia to reconnect with her long-lost son. So once she found out where Diavolo was, she probably confronted him to introduce herself. We have no idea what kind of person Diavolo's mother was, so who knows what she said or did to Diavolo when she met him, but for whatever reason, she ended up being mutilated and hidden away by Diavolo. This result could have come to be for a number of reasons, reasons. Maybe there is a deeper mystery to Diavolo's upbringing with the priest, and maybe that resulted in him resenting his mother and to do this to her when he was confronted by her. Maybe Diavolo is somewhat like Dio and he's just a naturally born evil person, or maybe even Diavolo's mother was violent and tried to kill him and he couldn't bring himself to kill his own mother while defending himself, so he stored his mother away, keeping her alive because he still cared about her. But most likely, Diavolo did this because he is a mentally damaged person with a faint connection to reality. Polnareff states that Diavolo's split personality could be because he had a bad childhood and maybe he was abused by his stepfather, but this is never confirmed. And with the little we did see from Diavolo's stepfather, he seemed like a nice person, but Diavolo was probably just mentally damaged from birth. So once Diavolo's stepfather found Diavolo's mother buried underneath the ground, still alive with her mouth sewn shut, he had to have been appalled and either had to make a decision to contact Diavolo and ask him about this directly, or either contact the police. So later that day, Diavolo had to have started the massive fire that ended up killing his stepfather, which saw his mother like that, and also probably burned the evidence of his mother as well, and also killed 4 other people and left people thinking that Diavolo was dead, so he had an opportunity to flee from Sardinia and not have to pay the consequences for his crimes. So back to Diavolo in Egypt during his excavation, which is where he went directly after the fire. He found 6 stand arrows by complete chance and would then flee with the arrows and eventually meet Enya from part 3, who informed Diavolo of the arrows' uses. He would then sell 5 of the 6 arrows to Enya for an insanely large sum of money, and he would keep 1 arrow to himself. Diavolo then returns to Italy with his money and stand arrow to create the game Passione. With his stand King Crimson assumingly being created by the 1 arrow that he kept, he gives the arrow to Polpo and his stand Black Sabbath to form the initiation test for Passione, and that begins the start of the most powerful game in all of Italy. So why did Diavolo go to Egypt? Who knows? If anything, I would think he would become a sailor, or maybe he just dropped that endeavor and wanted to become an archaeologist or something like that. Or maybe he was even drawn into Egypt by fate and then he was rewarded by finding the arrows, but then that would eventually lead to Diavolo's fabrication of fate choosing him in every situation, and also the false sense of him being an immortal. And that is the mystery of Diavolo. There is still a lot more to his character, but most of his endeavors while in his mob boss position are less of a mystery, and most of his mysteries lie in his past, such as his birth with a claimed 2-year-long pregnancy and being born in an all-female prison after being imprisoned for over 2 years. And what was his life like with his stepfather, and what kind of person did his stepfather turn him into? And just what happened to Diavolo's mother when she came to see him? It's really all a mystery of Diavolo's life. Let me know what you guys think about Diavolo's past, and also if you guys have any other theories on maybe explaining some of the things that happened in his life, leave a comment down below. And thank you guys for checking out this video. Be sure to like the video if I fought your boredom, and also subscribe for more JoJo videos. I don't think I could do this style of video for any other character because Diavolo really did have so many unanswered questions to him, and his whole childhood was just a giant mystery. So I thought it would be fun to just come on here and theorize about it a little bit. So once again, thank you guys for watching the video. I hope you enjoyed.
How are we hanging? The guitar souls are singing as we dance in the night. Remember how the stars of the night away.